Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. We had a week off last week. Nice to kind of clear our heads a little bit. Coming back to another one of these great Apex cards. It's you think we'd get a little bit better card after a week off, but here we are. Johnny, how you doing? How was your week off?
Week off was good. Got a little break, some tennis, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was good.
Hell yeah. All right, my friend.
So we're diving into this dumpster and try to pick out a couple winners.
Yes, sir. All right, let's jump right into it here. We got the first fight on the card is in the women's strawweight division. Got Rayani Dos Santos taking on Elise Ardellain. A couple women who have not had the greatest start to the UFC careers. I could argue Dos Santos could have won her last two fights. Couple tough decisions, but there's a lot to be desired here in this one. Two fighters who, they just haven't shown us much. Dos Santos has a jiu-jitsu background, but we haven't seen much of that. Ardellain is kind of a junkyard dog. She's willing to throw. She'll come forward. She can land some takedowns, but doesn't do a whole lot with them. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is low-level women's MMA. I mean, Rayani is she's been favored in her last couple of fights. Hasn't really shown it. She kind of fights down to the level of her competition. Both of her fights were pretty close. Doesn't seem to have the smartest fight IQ, but she probably definitely has an advantage here in the grappling department. Like you said, she's got the BJJ black belt. Her whole family I think is black belts. So pedigree's there. It's just she hasn't really used it in their first couple of fights. She just always fights to a close margin. I can't really trust her. And Ardellain is, she's not very skilled. The talent's not really there, but she just fights hard. She'll walk forward. She'll throw, the technique and the striking is not good. And, I don't know, but she just continues to always pushes forward and just, makes it interesting. It's really a tough fight, Ardellain also a TikTok star. She has 3 million followers on TikTok, so OnlyFans too. Yeah. So I think, she's got that going for herself. So I don't know. Kind of wanted to take the shot on the dog. I've actually backed Ardellain, I think, in her last couple fights, and she's always made the fights kind of close and just kind of but she just doesn't have that skill to get the job done. So I'm going to pick Rayani here to get the job done, but with low confidence. And I don't know. I probably won't even bet this fight.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You would expect it to be close, considering the line. It's not a great line here, so there's not a whole lot you can do with it. The sub is possible if Ardellain takes her down and she puts herself in bad spots at times, but we just haven't really seen it from Rayani. We don't really know how good her jiu-jitsu is at this level. It's supposed to be good, but we haven't seen it. So, the sub, I would say, is live here. But, yeah, it's a tough one to bet. As of right now, it's probably a fight that I'm going to fade. And, there's quite a few fights on this card that I'm not really sure how I want to get on the people that I picked. So this is going to be one of them, and I guess we'll figure it out as the week goes along here. But we'll move on. Next fight on the card, we have a late replacement here. We've got Blanchfield taking on Michael Aswell. Aswell, we saw him on the Contender Series. I don't know too much about this guy. I didn't get a chance. This has been a busy week for me, so I haven't been able to research this card as much as I would like. So I'm not going to have a whole lot of really strong takes. Oki is a guy, I'm not super high on, but he's got some power. He's got some decent boxing skills. He's got some overall skills. He looks like an absolute killer. I mean, the dude's jacked. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, late replacement here. Medeiros, Aswell stepping in for Medeiros here. I thought that probably would have been a better fight. Aswell coming in here short notice. Fury FC guy seems like a tough guy. It's just hard to come in here on short notice. I don't know, and also I don't know. I don't know what to make of Balaji Oki. I was kind of high on him, and he looks like a physical specimen. He's jacked. The striking ability seems to be there, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the Kwamba fight was kind of underwhelming, and then Chris Duncan puts you in that guillotine and chokes you out. I mean, it's not the greatest of looks, but I mean, Chris Duncan has done that to a few people, so I don't know here. This is a tough one. Aswell seems like he could be good, but I don't know. This short notice is a good look for him. I think eventually Oki finds the button. I mean, he throws big bombs on the feet. The striking's decent. I think he probably catches them and puts them away. Or I think he can wrestle them and ground and pound them. I don't know here. This is a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I think Oki wins, but yeah, not convincing. Not convinced.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean that way too. I mean, I think Oki has more. I think he's probably better than what we've seen, but he's a guy that, to this point, I'm not really high on. I kind of had high hopes for him coming into the UFC, but I really haven't been overly impressed. I don't know, man. It's tough. I kind of agree. I think Oki probably gets the job done. Short notice here, change of opponents. You never really know where either one of these guys is going to be at. But, yeah, I mean, for the sake of making a pick here, I'm going to go with Oki, and, yeah, we'll see what we get. All right. Our confidence so far has been through the roof on these two fights. Let's see if we get any more confidence coming into this one. I don't typically have much confidence with Trevin Giles, but we've got Trevin Giles taking on Andreas Gusten. Gusten making his debut. He had a knockout on the Contender Series. He's got a handful of knockouts in a row here. Taking on Trevin Giles, who, I don't know, man. He kind of feels like a paycheck guy to me. Like he shows up to the UFC. He's got talent. He fights, once or twice a year. He's fought some tough guys. He's had some tough results. So you can't really fault him for some of his losses, but you just never know what you're going to get with this guy. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Officer Giles reporting to duty here. Yeah, this is a 180 catch weight too. Yeah, Giles, I mean, seems like he has like all the talent. I mean, it's just, I mean, he's just like, I mean, the grappling's there. He's got decent grappling, decent like submission, anti-submission grappling. I mean, he can sub. I mean, the striking is decent. The boxing is okay. I have real concerns about the cardio. He seems to fade late in fights, which isn't great. And that chin, like the chin has been cracked. So that's also a big question mark for me. How much is he into it here? How much has he been training coming in here on short notice? Like you said, is he coming to just get a check? Yeah, it's like this guy, I mean, he seems to, like, he has the skills. It's just he's low volume. He doesn't really let his hands go. I mean, the boxing is good, but, like, the volume is the big concern for me, and the cardio and the chin. And, Gustafsson is, I don't know, watching tape on this guy, he just seems like a junkyard dog, man. He goes in there and goes to war. He throws big bombs. He's one of these, like, cage control, cage pusher guys, so he's going to push you up against the cage. He's going to land big knees. He's going to throw big elbows in space. He's going to throw wild, heavy bombs. I think Gustafsson touches that chin and puts him away, man. I can't back Giles. I think Gustafsson's going to make it grimy. He's going to wear on Giles, and eventually, I think he's going to land like a big elbow or some knee to the body or something and crumble Giles. Yeah. So yeah, the pick for me is Gustafsson. Yeah, probably by knockout.
Yep. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. You can, if you kind of push a pace on Giles, that's, late in fights, he does kind of fade a little bit. And yeah, like I said, it seems like half the time he's half committed. I mean, it's just kind of how he is. I don't know if it's just his demeanor or what, but tough to really get behind the guy. So yeah, I have to agree, man. I think Gustafsson, he, like you said, he makes it a grimy fight. He likes to push it up against the cage and land elbows, knees, and yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Gustafsson gets it done, and I could see him getting a finish in this one. All right, our next fight on the card is in the lightweight division. Got my boy Kurt Holloway taking on Jordan Levit. I'm a big fan of Jordan Levit. The guy's a character. I like watching him fight. Not super active though. I mean, he's been off. He doesn't fight all that often. He had a kid, so took some time off. But he's always dangerous. He's he's not a black belt, but he definitely has some really good jiu-jitsu. Very dangerous. Very, he's flexible. He gets in weird positions. He scrambles well. And we know Holloway's got good jiu-jitsu, but his weakness is getting held down. He'll stay on his back too long, trying to play jiu-jitsu. I think Holloway's got the boxing advantage here. But Levit's pretty tough out. He's fought some tough guys. I mean, where I stand on this fight. Holloway's my guy. Gotta back him. Don't know if I will get there on a bet, but yeah, it's always Holloway or fade for me. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, Levit, the striking has seemed to make some improvements. It's not the greatest. Kind of a little bit to desired, like you said. Holloway will probably have the boxing advantage here, but I think Levit probably has the grappling advantage here, and that's majority of the time. That's where Levit kind of wants to take his fights. He wants to get it down to the ground and kind of control you. He's got some sneaky subs. He can sneak one in. Good top control. Doesn't really land a lot of damage is kind of the concern though. But I mean, he is kind of making improvements. Like you said, he's coming off a year layoff. Just had a kid, so it's interesting to see where he's at and where he's going to come in here. But Holloway, his big thing is the takedown defense. It's just it's terrible. I think you could probably take him down, Tommy. It's pretty bad. I mean, if he can keep it upright, I think he can definitely be live. Definitely has the big advantage on the feet if he keeps it on the feet. Standing.
Yeah.
It's like he kind of tends to kind of feel comfortable playing BJJ off his back, which is I generally don't like backing guys like that. That'll just settle for bottom and try to, it's just rough.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think, man, minus 200 is kind of hard to get to on Levit on a money line. I don't know. It's kind of rough, man. And Holloway could be live, man. Holloway is one of these tricky dogs, man. These junkyard dogs, man. But I'm going to pick Levit, but with, once again, low confidence. I mean, it's just minus 200 is maybe by decision. Maybe you get more value like that. But
that's probably a good look.
Yeah, like Levit to win in round 2 to start. I don't mind that. It's like minus 145 though. Levit by decisions plus 135. I mean, I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not a bad way to bet.
Yeah, so probably be on Levit some way maybe, but not excited about it.
Yep, like I said, I mean, I Holloway, he's part of the Team Jacobe, so I'm always backing him. He's been, I've had some good success backing him, but it's a tough one.
He's had a couple.
Yeah. I mean, he's come through as a dog a couple times.
He's had some good. Yeah, he's had some good performances.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a tough out. Like you said, like we both said. I mean, he can be held down which is his kryptonite because he trusts that jiu-jitsu. But you know, when it's on the feet, he's got some skills, and he's been in there with some tough guys, and he's pulled out some good wins. So, you know, if he gets it done again on Saturday night, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's tough to get behind him. I mean, he is a pretty decent sized dog. He's kind of one of the bigger dogs he's been recently. So I probably will sprinkle a little, maybe a half unit, something on it. But yeah, it's going to be a good fight. It'll probably be competitive, and we'll probably see some decent grappling exchanges here. All right, our next fight is this is probably the most exciting fight. That's definitely the most exciting fight that we've talked about so far. We've got a flyweight bout, Felio taking on Ardellain Nascimento. Both guys can grapple. I expect to see some crazy grappling exchanges here. Felio is another one of those kind of junkyard dogs. You've seen him in there with some tough guys. He's been put in some bad spots and come out strong. He had a really strong showing against Makayev, only to get finished very late in that fight. You know, he had Makayev in a very deep knee bar that most people probably tap to. So, you know, he's always a tough out. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this should be, I mean, a grappler's delight here. I mean, two guys that love to grapple, have good submission games. You know, Felio, I mean, the striking is a little to be desired. It's not the greatest. But he has those tricky subs. So he'll grab a leg, he'll grab a knee. He's one of these guys that in any position he could be dangerous. You know, he could catch you in something. And, you know, Nascimento is no slouch either. The guy's grappling is really good. He's got some nice back takes. And when he gets that back, I mean, he pretty much takes your neck home with him, which is, I mean, I like that. I mean, it's just the inactivity from him. He hasn't fought in a while, so we really don't know what we're getting here. You know, what kind of shape's he coming in? You know, he's coming from that shooter box, Diego Lima gym, so you know he's going to be ready to go. So, yeah, this is going to be like who can get the better positioning here. And I think overall strength and better grappler is Nascimento. Maybe this is one you kind of want to wait and see the scales and see how Nascimento looks on the scales, because since he hasn't been around, see how he looks, see if he makes weight, see how he, you know, if he absolutely drains himself or whatnot. But yeah, I'm just gonna lean on Nascimento being the better, stronger grappler and just being the more slick guy, probably getting the back. I don't know if he could sub Felio. Felio has been subbed. Makayev subbed him, so it's not out of the question. So I mean, something tricky here is maybe fight ends by sub. I was looking at that.
Hold that thought 1 second. My laptop's about to die. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right.
But we're back.
We're back. All right. So before Tommy's laptop almost died, I was saying, yeah, the Nascimento fight ends by sub at plus 225. That was something interesting. But yeah, I'll probably be on Nascimento here in some way or fashion.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. I try to catch my breath here from running upstairs. I like Felio late in this fight. I think there's a good live opportunity here, but I mean, I have to agree with you. I think Nascimento, if I'm just picking a winner, I think I'd probably go with him. But this fight's going to be back and forth, so I think there's an opportunity for a live spot here. Man, I'm freaking trying to catch my breath.
You all right, man?
Yeah, I sprinted upstairs, dude. But yeah, I think Nascimento probably the side here, and you know, it could get interesting late. Felio, when he's, you know, even in bad spots, he pushes forward. So I definitely think it's a good fight. Definitely could be back and forth here. It's kind of, you know, who gets the upper hand. But yeah, I like Nascimento as well. All right, as I get this set back up here. Our next fight not the greatest fight in the world, but definitely we should see some pretty good action in this one. We've got Zachary Reese, who's a, pretty much a first rounder bust type fighter, taking on Dusko Toddorovich. Toddorovich is pretty skilled. He's worked his grappling a little bit in some of his fights, and that could be a path here for him. Both guys do have some good power. Both guys can be clipped. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I fully expect somebody to get finished here. I like unders. I like, that. Yeah, I'll definitely be having the unders and definitely have that in parlays. Yeah, Zachary Reese. I mean, the guy is kind of just not very good. I mean, just a big, kind of athletic guy. He has power in his hands, but no chin, pretty much. I mean, we've seen him get knocked out from a slam from Cody Brundage. His last fight, just Bakoyev absolutely sent him to the shadow realm. Jose Medina, he was able to push through and go 15 rounds, but I mean, you couldn't really get that low level guy out of there. It's tough, to be a Zachary guy. I mean, I was on him against Bakoyev in his last fight, and it was just terrible. Bad takedown defense. I mean, I don't think the guy is very good, but he's going up against a guy against Dusko who's got very questionable durability, who also pretty much has no chin, can get cracked, can be finished. I mean, the striking, I guess, is decent. He can crack a little bit too. He's got that BJJ black belt. So I mean, if he can get it to the ground, he can definitely make it interesting with some grappling. Yeah, this is probably a 5-minute fight, so I think I find it hard to see it getting out of round one. I think one of these guys got to go, and I don't know. I'm gonna lean on Reese, probably catching him and putting him away just with having the big power. But I probably won't bet aside, and I'll just probably take the under 1.5 here, put it in a parlay. Fight doesn't start round 3, put it in a parlay and just call it a day and hope for violence. But gonna lean Reese knocks him out, but probably won't bet it.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was I was thinking about betting Reese first round because like we say, when he wins in the first round. Aside from the Medina fight, but we all know Medina. Dude sits there and takes punches. That's kind of what
sledgehammer.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't necessarily fault him for not getting the finish there. Although, very, very low level fighter, just a guy that's tough. But for the most part, Reese, when he wins, it's in the first round. Dusko, he's a very skilled fighter, but man, he leaves his chin out there, and he's not the most durable guy in the world. I'm leaning Dusko to win the fight if it gets out of the first round, because I do think he gets the grappling going, and I think he could finish him with some ground and pound. Reese, he's just he's just an explosive fighter. That's just kind of what he is. But I do like Reese in the first round, or even the under 1.5 with the knockout. I definitely think that's live. But I mean, I agree with you on the unders. I think one way or the other, this fight probably ends early. And that's so. I mean, I'm going to lean Dusko to win, but I might have a Zachary Reese early knockout bet in my back pocket. And yeah, that's it for this one.
Yeah, two guys not really trustworthy, man.
Yeah. All right, our next fight is in the women's bantamweight division. We've got Ketlin Vieira taking on Macy Chaison. Vieira, a couple years ago looked like the next big thing. She had a nice little run, but she hasn't looked like the same fighter recently. Macy has, she's shown a pretty good showing for herself recently. Kind of, it's kind of tough to gauge where they're at right now in their careers. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this should be a good one for a women's MMA fight. I mean, Vieira, she's got all she's decently well rounded. I mean, the last fight against Kayla Harrison, she kind of made a good account for herself. She kind of stuffed some takedowns. She kind of made it interesting. I thought she pushed through that third round. I think she probably scraped that third round against Kayla. Yeah, that was a good showing for herself. And she's looked okay. She's looked decent. She went on that run she had, and then she's kind of cooled down a bit, but she had a good showing in her last fight against Kayla, well-rounded, good fighter. And Macy, she's also pretty good, I mean, I like the striking, I like the volume, the kicks, she's on a hell of a run. That Mayra Silva fight, I mean, she just inflicted a lot of damage, had the cut, the fight was stopped due to that nasty cut.
Yeah.
The only big slip up was in that in that Aldana fight. When I was on her in that fight, she was looking good. She was up 2-0. I think she was up 2-0 on Aldana. Aldana's gassed on her back, and she lands this fluke up kick, to the liver. And I mean, I was already counting my money on that fight. Boom, up kick, fight's over. Like, what the hell? But other than that, I mean, she's looked pretty good. Yeah, it's going to be, can Caitlin throw enough volume here? I think Chaison is probably the better technical striker and probably puts out more volume. And I think maybe Vieira probably has the grappling advantage here, but can she take Chaison down and hold her down? I don't know. But is that really Caitlin's game? Not really. She's more a striker, but she can grapple, and Chaison's more. So these girls should be on the feet. It's probably a close fight. Probably a split. But yeah, I'm gonna lean Chaison gets the job done here in a close splitish fight.
Yeah, I agree, man. I do think she finds a way to get it done. Caitlin's tough. She's a tough out. Obviously, she showed that in the Kayla fight, and she's got some power. I mean, we don't see it all the time, but she can land big shots. Big, strong for the division. But yeah, I mean, Macy, it's almost like when she has that killer instinct, like she's extremely dangerous. She's got pretty good striking. She comes forward. She's got the tools. She's got the size as well. They're both pretty big for the division. And I think when Macy's got it rolling, she's a real problem. And she could win the volume here. She could, catch one of those big elbows. Obviously, if I slice somebody open with an elbow like that, I'd probably be throwing a lot of elbows moving forward. But yeah, I mean, I got to go with Macy here. I think I think she's the side. All right, our next fight is in the that's the wrong thing. There we go. In the light heavyweight division, we've got Dustin Jacobe taking on Bruno Lopez. I've kind of fallen off the Jacobe train as of late. Very good striker, kickboxer. But yeah, I don't know. He's kind of looked a little underwhelming. Taking on Bruno Lopez, 14-1. Seems to have the goods. We shall see. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm on the. I like Jacobe as a fighter. I like watching him fight. It's always pretty entertaining fights. His last fight against Petrino, I mean, absolutely just sparked him in the third round. I was on him in that fight. He was a pretty decent dog. Cashed pretty good on that one. But you're right. He kind of seemingly his levels have seemingly dropped. I mean, He's getting hurt and wobbled in a couple of the Mirzakhanov fight was not a great look. He was getting hurt all over the place. Got pretty much dominated in that one. The Menafield fight which was, I mean, I thought you can't really give Jacobe. I thought Jacobe won based off volume, but off damage, you got to give it to Menafield. He dropped him like 3 times in that fight. You know, we kind of see the durability is maybe going a little bit on Jacobe, but I mean, he came out and had a great performance in his last fight. You know, I still got to think he's still got something in the tank. And, you know, Bruno Lopez is kind of, you know, he's a tricky guy. You know, he's got good power in his hands. Not the most technical of strikers, but throws big bombs. He can grapple. You know, the Gajazulov fight, he got like, I think 5 or 6 takedowns in that fight, which was pretty impressive. And he was a big dog there and pulled that one off. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because I don't know if he can get takedowns on Jacobe. I think Jacobe's takedown defense is good enough to keep it standing on the feet, and I think Jacobe's a way better technical kickboxing. You know, he's had all that experience. I think he's fought Alex Pereira before. So I mean, the experience is there in the striking realm. If he keeps it on the feet, I think he probably eventually catches him. But I'm going to say, you know, I'm going to pick Jacobe to win the fight. I'm just not sure how I want to get on him yet, whether it's knockout or decision. Yeah, but the durability kind of weaning, like going down, is kind of a bit concerning there because Bruno does hit pretty hard. So, yeah, I think Jacobe gets it done.
Yeah, I didn't have a strong take on this one. I could totally see Jacobe winning it. You know, if he gets the striking going and stuffs a few takedowns, you know, it'll be good for him. I do worry backing him just because, you know, even in that Menafield fight, there was a point where it looked like he was kind of taken over and then he got rocked. And it's like, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, Menafield hits hard. He's got huge power. That's kind of what he does. But, yeah, that kind of stuff just scares me off. And, yeah, when Jacobe's flowing, he looks really good. And it's just a matter of, can he get it going? And if he can, I do agree. I think he could win the fight.
Dominic Reyes fight wasn't a great look either for Jacobe.
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, Reyes has kind of shown, you know, he's kind of looked like the Reyes of old recently. So, you know, maybe not the worst of looks, you know. I mean, Reyes is probably better than Lopez, I would think, but you know, he's new to the UFC, so we don't really know how good he can be. I mean, we saw the grappling, that's a strength. He's definitely got some power. So but yeah, man, I'll roll with you here on Jacobe. I didn't have a strong take coming into it, and yeah, just hope he gets it going and maybe stuffs a couple takedowns and just is more technical and gets the job done. All right, our next fight is one that this is one of the fights that I really haven't had a chance to get into. So I really don't even have an opinion. I'm not super high on Brahimi, but you know, I'm not, like I said, I didn't really do the film study for this one, so I don't really have much to say. But we got Billy Ray Goff taking on Ramiz Brahimi, welterweight bout. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this should be a fun one. You know, Billy Goff, you know, kind of just junkyard dog, walk forward, throws a lot of volume, pushes the pace, you know, has good cardio, can, you know, he'll fight for your money, that's for sure. You know, he's kind of a junkyard dog. You know, the Kinoshita knockout was kind of impressive. You know, and then in his last fight, Trey Waters is just massive and he couldn't really find the range. So I don't really know to hold that against him too much. But yeah, here, you know, Brahimi, you know, pretty much, I mean, grappling, you know, pretty much, you know, round one or bust. You know, he's going to try to take you down. He's got good subs, you know, seemingly kind of made improvements in his In his last fight, he did knock out Mickey Gall, but I mean, Mickey Gall is just a terrible striker, and I think probably almost
Yeah.
anybody can knock out Mickey Gall. So, I mean, on the feet, I think there's just a massive advantage here for Goff. I mean, unless Brahimaj catches them with something big and random, which is always possible in MMA, if you're wearing 4-ounce gloves. I just see Goff being just way too much, just pushing this in the late waters, just kind of just volume, pace, and kind of wearing on Brahimaj. I don't like the minus 380 price tag on him. What is he, 350? It's kind of crazy, the line.
Pretty wide line when I saw
and
it.
Goff opened up at minus 500, and it got bet down. So, I mean, I think the line is wide. I think Goff should be favored, but the line is just wide, and I don't know. Maybe I'll throw him in a parlay, but I'm not sure. I think he gets the job done, though, and I just can't trust Brahimaj. He's just not a guy I could trust with my money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was kind of leaning the same way. Brahimaj is not a guy that I have a whole lot of confidence in. He's, he's had some good moments, but I don't know. It's tough to really back.
Brahimaj sub round 1?
That would probably be a pretty big number.
10-1. 10-1. Yeah. I can get down with that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I think it was his debut against Max Griffin. I thought he was a guy that had some promise, and obviously that fight did not go well. He got his ear basically exploded off the side of his head. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy. He's definitely got some skills, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. So, yeah, as of right now, I can't back him, but I am going to do the proper film study on this one, just so I have a strong take on it by the time Saturday comes along, and we'll figure it out at that point. But we move on. We've got a pretty solid fight here in the co-main event. We've got Mateusz Gamrock taking on Toddorovich Klein. Gamrock, very, very strong wrestler, tough guy. Klein, another tough guy, very good kickboxing, dangerous head kick. He can be grappled, but we've seen him land a couple takedowns of his own as well. I'm not generally a big Gamrock guy, because when he's fighting guys who can deal with the grappling, he tends to struggle a bit, but that's against some higher level guys, so I can't really knock him too much. This is an interesting one here. I saw Gamrock do an interview on Helwani, and he's been training with Poirier. He looks like Poirier beat the piss out of him in camp. But he was confident. He was bruised up, but he was confident. He felt good. So, he's probably coming into this one ready. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this should be an interesting one. I mean, I don't know. Gamrock's fights are always kind of just not the most exciting fights, But I mean, he's got that game plan where he's gonna just push you up against the cage. He's gonna try to get takedowns. The striking is seen to be making some improvements. It's not the greatest. He can be cracked. I mean, Klein's definitely going to have a striking advantage here, but it's whether he can create space, I think, is going to be a big issue here. I think Gamrock's going to be on him. Gamrock hasn't fought in a while. He's been looking for a fight, so he's been preparing. I think he's going to be ready here to go. Yeah. I think he can get takedowns. It's just, man, he has a difficult time actually holding guys down. That's my problem with Gamrock. A lot of mat returns, a lot of control up against the cage. Just, not the most thrilling guy or exciting guy, But, I mean, he is a good fighter, He's got a win over Sarukian. He's got some decent wins, And Klein, he's got some really good striking, like you said. Those head kicks, that's one of his signature keys. He came into the UFC with having a bunch of nasty head kick knockouts. The striking is pretty good. I mean, decent takedown defense. It's definitely going to be pushed to the test here. But it's like, who are the guys this guy's been fighting? He's been fighting what, AJ Cunningham and guys like that. Lately, it hasn't been the greatest of competition for Klein. I think this is a big step up here. I'm gonna say Gamrock goes in here and just is able to do enough, get some takedowns. You know, it seems like he's been working his ass off in the gym, like you said with Poirier. I know Renato Moicano even said on his podcast, he said that Gamrock's one of the toughest guys in the gym. He's always looking to try to improve and you know, make himself better. So I'm gonna hope he's gonna make some improvements in his striking here, and yeah, be able to just get takedowns. I think he's probably a good DFS play too. I'll probably be playing him in DFS. Probably land like 10 takedowns. So yeah, the pick for me is Gamrock.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I'm not always a fan of his style. It is effective, but you know, sometimes like the Jalen Turner fight, you know, that was not the greatest of looks. You know, obviously Dan Hooker, but you know, he's fought some pretty high level guys, and while he's not the greatest of strikers, he does have the ability to strike. He does land some pretty big shots. We've seen him win fights in the UFC with body shots. The Sarukian fight, you know, he landed a good amount of strikes, and that was pretty back and forth, close fight, 5 rounds. You know, against a guy was basically set to fight for the title, and then you know pulled out like the day before. So very high level competition. The competition between the two, you know, it's not even really close. You know, you got to give the advantage to Gamrot. And, you know, I like the things that come out of his camp. Like you said, with Moicano, and you see he's training with Poirier, and we know Poirier's got a big fight coming up with Max. So he's in there with tough guys. A lot of guys don't want to fight him. I mean, he's tried jumping into fights on short notice. Nobody's even going to attempt to fight him on short notice. For the most part. So it's like everybody knows he's a good fighter. He's tough. He's a tough out. Not a guy you want to just be, you know, jumping in there in 2 weeks' notice. Yeah, I think he does get the takedowns going, and he's a guy that if he puts it all together and you know starts inflicting a little bit more damage in his fights, he's right there. He's a top level guy. He's a title contender. So. Yeah, I think he gets it done here. I think he gets takedowns going. I'd like to see him land some damage on the ground, you know, or standing, whatever. But yeah, a little bit more damage, a little bit more control, and he should get the job done here. All right, that brings us to our main event of the evening. We've got Erin Blanchfield taking on Macy Barber, women's flyweight bout. 2 fighters that, you know, very good records. You know, you could question a couple decisions on both of their records, but one way or another, they're, you know, they don't lose for the most part. Both kind of feeling like they're in that title picture. Macy's on a 6-fight winning streak, but she's gone through hell over the past year and a half, you know, with injuries. She had a nasty sickness where she was in the hospital. They didn't know what was wrong with her. So that's a little bit concerning coming into this one. Blanchfield, you know, I was pretty high on Blanchfield. She's got a pretty decent skill set, but again, you know, there's been a couple fights where I kind of question how good she really is. It's a pretty good litmus test for both fighters. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's a pretty fun one. I'm actually looking forward to this one. You know, Macy coming in, she hasn't fought in about around a year. You know, had a fight canceled. She had that Rose fight, I think that Blanchfield jumped in and took. She had that scheduled and had to drop out with some crazy sickness. I guess after her fight, her last fight, I mean, I guess she got like super sick and her legs swelled up. It was like really weird if you look into it. Yeah, and they really don't know what happened to her. Yeah, but you know, she's on a roll. She's got like 6 fights in a row, 6 wins in a row. You know, she goes out there and she inflicts damage on these girls. You know, she's got good striking. She's got decent power for the women's MMA. I mean, she lands a lot of damage. She goes out there and tries to hurt you. You know, the takedown defense is a little concerning, which would be a concern here. But I mean, she's just a junkyard dog. She's going to fight hard for the whole 25 minutes, you know. Yeah, and then Erin was, you know, I was super high on Erin. She looked like a world beater, and then she got in there against a couple girls that actually like were able to stuff her takedowns and keep it on the feet. And I mean, her striking is just it's pretty bad. It's not very good. She does throw a lot of volume. You know, I thought in the Rose fight, I thought Rose might have edged that one, but that was like really weird because, you know, Rose kind of like gassed out midway through the third and kind of gave away the fight.
Yeah.
I thought Rose was cruising there. You know, the Furo fight, I mean, just absolutely got takedown stuffed and just got absolutely pieced up. You know, but she does throw volume, you know, and the striking is I think Macy definitely probably has an advantage here on the feet. If she can keep it upright, then, you know, that's going to be in her world. My fear is can Macy keep it on the feet? You know, I think Blanchfield's, her wrestling isn't the greatest, but I think her BJJ and when she gets on top is pretty good. Yeah, but it's whether or not through a 5-round fight. This is Macy's first 5-round fight. You know, I mean, she seems real determined here, you know, and so, you know, you got to think they're drilling to keep this on the feet somehow. You know, that's got to be in the game plan. And I think if it's on the feet, I think Macy, this is going to be a super close fight, you know. And you're giving me like plus 200 on Barber on a 6-fight win streak against a girl I've got some question marks against. You know, if Blanchfield gets on top, she'll be a problem. But if she doesn't, then I think she's in trouble here. And I'm gonna lean taking the plus 200 with Macy. Fuck it. I've been thinking about it all week, and I'm gonna fire on Macy here. I think it's gonna be super close. I think there's gonna be big momentum swings, and I think maybe you could even be able to grab Blanchfield at plus money at some point during the fight. Yeah. You know, so I think it's a good where you can kind of try to get plus money on both sides. You know. So, yeah, the pick for me is going to be Macy. I'll probably bet Macy money line and then try if I can arbit live and grab Blanchfield and try to scrape a little bit of profit. Then that's what I'll probably do. But, yeah, I'll be betting Barber.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, man. Barber has that killer instinct. She's, you know, we saw her just absolutely run through Amanda Hebas, just put the volume on her and just standing TKO her, which, you know, obviously Hebas her chin is not the greatest. We've seen her get cracked in the past, but she's a pretty high level fighter, and most people aren't doing that to her. So when Macy's on her game, she looks really good. I mean, I do have the concern with the sickness and all the injuries and stuff that she's been through. That's definitely concerning, but that's probably why we're getting 2-to-1 price tag on her. And I think she's much better than that. I think this is much closer to a coin flip fight, and I expect it to be competitive. So, yeah, I mean, I'll bet the value here. I'll take the shot on Macy as well. And like you said, I do think it's going to be pretty competitive, especially early. I mean, you know, even if Blanchfield does maybe take over late, the first couple rounds could be pretty close, and that line's going to drop. We see it all the time. The line swings like crazy. So, yeah, I like the live look in this fight. But yeah, I'm going to take the value here, and you know, Macy Barber, by hook or by crook, she tends to get the job done. So I think she's definitely live in this one, and I'm willing to throw a little down on it.
Like, I made Blanchfield probably like a minus 150 favorite here at most.
Yeah, that's way more.
She's ballooned up to minus 245. So, yeah, the value's clearly on Macy.
Yep. All right, so that's it. You know, not the greatest of fight cards, but a lot of times these cards are they turn out to be pretty good. They don't look great on paper. You know, a lot of names that we're not super familiar with, but a lot of times we see these fights end up in knockouts and submissions. We get a lot of finishes on these cards. And you know, I've had some of my biggest nights money wise betting on some of these terrible cards. So hopefully that's the case this weekend. Looking for a nice win, and we will be live as we always are. We've got NASCAR this weekend.
I don't know if we're live. I don't know if we're live.
We'll go live. I was talking to Keg, so I could start the show if everybody wants to do it. But if not, you know, but if the guys want to go, we'll go live. And either way, you know, we'll be watching along. Most of the people watching this are in the Discord already. If you're not, sign up over at Nuke the House. Get in the Discord. We've got a lot of smart people in there. A lot of good talk with all the sports. MLB's going on strong. We got Maddie doing his job over there. Got the NBA playoffs. We got NHL playoffs still going. We got NASCAR to bet. So, you know, a lot of action over at Nuke the House. So if you're not signed up, sign up. And, yeah, I don't know. That's it. Johnny, I guess if you've got anything else to add, we'll let us know. Otherwise, we'll get out of here.
No, that's about it.
All right, we're out. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like, share the video, and good luck this weekend.
Laters.